Hello, my name is David Ades. I'm a certified professional life coach, specializing in the recovery from narcissistic abuse. Today's video is about practicing trust. Again, after having been narcissistically abused. This is a difficult task because the narcissist so effectively undermines one's basic sense of trust, the basic sense of trust that any sentient creature needs to have to be in touch with in order to not be suspended in fight or flight mode all the time. One needs to have this basic sense that oneself is available for one to kind of fall back upon. You've got your own back. You're there. When you need your instincts to kick in, they'll do that. When you need to make a decision, your mind will be there. When you are ready to open up, your system will respond to the comings and goings of your internal world and the external world because it's safe to do so. If it's not, well, this is what the narcissist does. The narcissist inflicts such an amount of pain on you in such a strange and specific way that I'm going to get to in this video, that it's no longer safe for you to respond to the pushes and pulls of yourself and of relationships and of environments, both the inner world and both the outer world, that kind of call you for engagement just by the fact of being real. Like, needs exert pressure on you to meet them because they're real. Relationships, other people, exert pressure on you through emotions and feelings. I'm not talking about negative pressure. It could be positive pressure. Come here, I want to give you a hug. Relationships, other people, exert pressure, positive or negative, this way or that way, because they are real. To the extent that they are real. Fake things don't ask anything of you, but also don't kind of prompt you in any direction. What one needs to be on the lookout for while recovering from narcissistic abuse is the ways in which they engage, the ways in which they use their time on things that don't really offer any meaningful prompting in one way or another. Real life is lived through the engagement with things that push and pull. What is real in your internal world, you'll feel it, you'll know it's real because it pushes and pulls. Doesn't mean that every real thing that pushes and pulls is worthy of giving into. Doesn't mean every time somebody pushes and pulls or any environment seems welcoming or unwelcoming doesn't mean that you're right about it. You still have things to learn and room to grow, and you need to be watchful and mindful, and you have to have healthy boundaries, and so on and so forth. I'll say it like this. One's life can be summarized as the amalgamation of the things within them and outside of them that exerted a push and pull on them, on their time, on their attention, on their energy, and the ways in which they responded to those pushings and pullings. That's an entire creature's life summarized a bit too simplistically. Your life is a combination of the pushes and pulls, internal and external to you, combined with how you respond to the pushes and pulls, or don't respond, and the pushes and pulls that don't show up. That's one's life. The narcissist renders you unalive by making everything within you that pushes and pulls hostile, associated with pain. The narcissist turns being pushed and pulled into a painful thing. You cannot trust life. Life shows up through your inner world or the external world and says, hey, come here. The narcissist removed your ability to say, okay, I'm coming. Something internal to you, something external to you says, hey, go that way. The narcissist removed your ability to say, okay, I'll go that way, or I'll think about it, or I'll stop and exert some pressure on myself to hesitate before I do it, or it's engagement with the comings and goings of the world. that the narcissist traumatizes by whiplashing. A relationship with a narcissist, being narcissistically abused, is a roller coaster. It's pushing and pulling violently, aggressively, hostilely. It might start with love bombing, and there might be hoovering. No, I didn't say love bonging. It's, come here, get away. Come here, get away. The narcissist draws you in just to stab you in the back. The narcissist, they're going to give you a hug, punches you in the mouth. The narcissist lays the rug beneath your feet so it's soft, and then when you say, I can trust this, they pull it out from beneath your feet. They, in a kind of twofold manipulative art, they turn up the intensity on pushing and pulling, it's whiplash, and they turn it into malintent, it's hostilely directed at you. Where life itself, through your internal pushings and pullings, and through your external, through the normal external pushings and pullings, not counting the narcissist as a normal pushing and pulling, they're certainly not normal if they're not anything. One of those first things is normal. I lost my sentence. All right, I'm going to take a commercial break and we'll get back to it. Narcissist traumatizes the experience of being pushed and pulled, on top of associating the things that push and pull with pain. A relationship with a narcissist turns being pushed and pulled by another human being into pain. Because that's what being with a narcissist is. It's being pushed and pulled by another person with a violent intent, to a traumatic degree. Narcissist turns you and the things that push and pull you into pain. They pull on your needs, they push on your boundaries. They turn trusting the external world and trusting the internal world. They turn trusting the comings and goings of things, I hope you get what I'm saying now, into a traumatic, painful experience. So then, what does it mean to practice trust again? It means that you have to do relationship repair with the things internal to you and things outside of you that have any sort of push or pull to offer. This is quite a broad topic for me to open up. I could start by saying you might consider introducing into your daily or weekly life something that offers a push or a pull that is a safe, calculated risk for you to take. Something maybe like a coaching session, not a shameless plug, maybe a good example. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. I might not be the right coach for you, but my point is, put something in your daily or weekly life that pushes you in some way, that pulls you in some way. You have to show up. And just by doing that, you're practicing answering to the pushes and pulls of life, which the narcissist taught you to stop answering to, which means that you stop living. Living means being pushed and pulled internally and externally. And living wisely means learning how to wisely respond to these pushings and pullings. But that takes practice. In order to be alive, you have to feel pushed and pulled. A part of this is regaining connection with your internal world at all so that you would feel the pushes and pulls. So I might also say, if and when your needs make themselves known to you, answer them. Get pulled by them. Get pushed by them. Be careful of things that pull or push you like overwhelmingly. Maybe those aren't safe. That's like a roller coaster again, and you don't want to live that sort of adventure anymore. That horror thrill ride. You want to kind of come down from that traumatic pattern or that dynamic or whatever. You might look at in your life how you spend meaningful amounts of time on things that don't offer any meaningful push or pull. We do compulsive habits maybe precisely to escape the pushings and pullings. I'm going to distract myself so I'm no longer answering to pushes and pulls because one, that's difficult. To answer pushes and pulls wisely is difficult, and two, it might be associated with pain. So you need to cut back on how you spend time on things that take you away from a kind of wise engagement, wise interactions with what in you or external to you calls your name or prompts you You might look to engage with things that offer you something, like if you spend the time looking for a movie that really means something, instead of, for example, binge watching some garbage you don't really care about, the movie leaves a pull on you. It leaves a push on you. That's what good art does. That's what good people do. And of course that's what bad things do as well. Let's say they give you a push away from them. But that's life. Being amongst the pushings and the pullings. So, take account of how you spend your time in ways that might be avoidant to pushes and pulls. Reflect on the things you spend your time on that don't really offer much pushing or pulling. Reflect on how you maybe want certain things to offer more of a push and pull, but they just don't, so then maybe you just pull your attention away. Because you're trying to follow kind of your heart here. Not like, well, I want to be pushed and pulled by this, and not that. Life might not work that way, at least as much as one would like to believe, including oneself right here. Add something to your life, take a calculated risk, something that offers a push or a pull. I think this is why facing your fears is a thing. Because a fear is like this weird push, like, oh, don't face me, but it's also a weird like pull. It's like, oh, you gotta face me. And so it might begin with facing fears. It might begin and end with facing fears, because recovering from narcissistic abuse is not just recovering from some alien abuse. It is, but it is also, like, again, another regular thing in life, pushing and pulling, just amped up immensely. Recovering from narcissistic abuse is just like self-realization or self-actualization amped up immensely, made more desperate. It's healing and growing just turned up to expert mode. You're not an alien for suffering this stuff. It's in fact kind of that thing that you need to come down from. The place, the limbo, the purgatory, the fight or flight stasis that narcissistic abuse leaves you in. Doesn't leave you win until you come back down. Then you've won over it, which is the note that I really want to end on. This is your success story. You need to win over. You need to win yourself back over, relationship repair. You need to win relationships back over. And I don't mean specific relationships. That might be the case, but I meant like relating. You need to win it back over. You need to win your sense of trust, a basic sense of trust back over, which happens through practicing trust, which happens through calculated risks in regards to things that push and pull you. When a wish for something comes up, if it's safe for you to engage in it, then be pushed and pulled. When a need comes up, make room for it. When it's time to do this, do that. It's trying to follow back the rhythm of life. Because the narcissist grabbed your account and they unfollowed river of life. Now you've got to grab your account back and follow the river of life again, the river of time, your heart, your gut, your instincts, so on and so forth. And this is your work to do. You deserve to do the work. If you're here, you're interested in doing the work. If you're here, you've already done a lot of the work, so pat yourself on the back. Journey continues, but good job. I think that's it. Nobody can do this for you. If you haven't already, figure that out. If you want my help personally, click the first link in the description to schedule a call with me. You can click the second link in the description to take a free narcissistic abuse recovery quiz. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more. Like this video if you do like it. Comment any thoughts or questions that you have down below. That's it, right? I checked all the boxes. Talk to you soon.